Hello everyone. Today we have privilege speaking with Professor Michel Mayo, whose extraordinary discovery of exoplanet led a new door of cosmos discoveries. He is also a 2019 Nobel Prize winner in physics. So Professor Mayo, welcome to the show on Doordarshan.
Thank you very much for the invitation to discuss with you. I'm so glad to be here at the time of a very important conference here with a lot of colleagues from different countries discussing this kind of matter.
Okay, Professor Mayo, I would like how was your childhood? Like, from where does your romance with stars and planets in sky begin?
In fact, when I was a child, I was really interested in science, but not specifically astronomy. So, not far where I live in, I remember a mountain with a very important shape like this, because the force between the different continents, and so it's exciting how it's possible to do this kind of change of the mountain. So, and then after I was interested in different domains of zoology, botany, and so on. And then after I start, evidently you have to choose after the high school, and I start to do theoretical physics because I was really fascinated by the elegance of the theoretical physics. So I did study in physics, and I start during my first research to interaction of particle with large spin, so nuclear reaction, nothing to do with astrophysics. And then after I start a PhD at the Geneva University in the field of, okay, it's a little bit technical, but I will explain. What is called a density wave. You can, when you are looking beautiful pictures of galaxies, you see frequently the shape of the galaxy as two arms.
Okay.
And until 1963, nobody understood how it was possible, because the size is terrific. The light will need 100,000 years to go through. So what is the physical process to explain this? And some colleague of US, Professor Lin and Professor Shu, gave the answer. It's a kind of wave.
Okay.
So it's not matter. And then after this opened a lot of marginal questions, and I did my PhD in that field. So that wave is supposed also to slightly modify the motion of stars surrounding the sun. So this is, at the end of my PhD, it was purely theoretical. So I decided, I need to measure the velocity of stars to prove if what I did is correct or not. And then at the time, it was awful. Measure the velocity of stars, it's an old technique, it was boring, inefficient, and so on. So I said, I will not do these things. And by chance, always you have in your life, you have some moment where you have some chance. And at some moment, I met in Cambridge, in England, a guy, a young astronomer, developing a new kind of technique. And for me, I fall in love immediately with the idea. So this instrument was not fantastic, and it was easily imagined that we can do something better. So when back in Geneva, I asked the permission to the director of the time to develop this instrument, and it was a dream. Okay, it's controlled by computer. You have almost nothing to do. Everything is made by the instrument. And just to have one value, the gain of efficiency compared to the old technique was 4,000.
Oh.
So it's incredible. You can start to do what you want. Every domain you can. It's so easy. So it was a very good moment in my career to decide to do instrumentation. Okay. And this was the start of a long life of development of different generation of instruments like this to measure the velocity of stars. It was a clever idea made by an English astronomer a long time ago. And so, and today everybody uses only this technique.
Yes.
And then after, generation after generation, we understood what was not perfect. So one generation in the early 90s, we built a new spectrograph called LOD, and it was installed to a 2-meter telescope in south of France, and suddenly it was a miracle because the precision was 10 meters per second. So you can measure, let's say, if you have a bike,
Yeah.
you can measure the velocity of the bike or something like this.
Yes.
So, and I decided immediately, I will not continue to what I did before. It will be stupid. You have something much more precise. What is the best thing to do?
Yeah.
And search for planet. So it was relatively late, and it was driven by the technology, because we did a very important step in the precision. In fact, this is okay, what we can do. And immediately after a few months of measurement, we have a first planet.
Okay, so whether this 51 Pegasi B was an accident, serendipity, or you thought it will come in your way of your journey?
No, not really, because previously with the old spectrograph, we have selected a sample of 142 stars like the Sun,
Okay.
and not part of binary stars, because you know a large fraction of stars are part of a double star. So we have decided to not to complicate the story, so to take only single stars, and it was not serendipity. We measured the velocity of the first one, the second one, the third one net, let's say 30 measurements during a night, and the night after we repeat, and so on, and 1 week after we repeat, and 2 months after you repeat, and so at no moment you say, yes, we have a planet. It's only when you have a long series of measurements made during several months that you start to see that one set of measurements for one planet looks to be periodic. What is the possibility? If a star is moving like this, it's not without any reason. You have to find the reason. You do some very simple calculation, and it is a Jupiter-type planet, but with a period of 2 days. No, 4 days, 4.2 days. Crazy. The theory predicts that giant planet cannot have a period shorter than 10 years. Jupiter, something like this, Saturn, 30 years or so. So you have a discrepancy with the theory by a factor 1,000.
Yeah.
So if you do not want to be ridiculous, you have to be a little bit.
So I would just want to be in that moment only. Like I remember Copernicus suddenly, like when he said we are not the center of the universe. So same like the old theories were really broken. So I think you and your companion, your colleague would be the only person who would be believing like this kind of planet so close to star is existing.
Yeah.
With this. So were you not in doubt? Were your confidence less to like speak, and what if we speak and if you get it wrong? What was those times, if you can recall, the conflicts that went into your mind, or those nights and days, if you can recall? Yeah.
What are the other explanations? If you have a star with magnetic field, with big spots rotating like this, the apparent velocity of the star will change. So it could be not a planet, but the rotation of a star with a magnetosphere. So the second possibility will be, we know that a lot of stars are pulsating. Is it a pulsating star or not? So we have made new observation to exclude the pulsation. And if it is spots, you know the spots on the sun do not live several years. So we were expecting some change. And in July, the year after, we have remeasured the star, nothing changed, the same period, the same amplitude, the same phase. So I just finally say, what we can do? It's the only reasonable explanation is an object. I don't know what it is, but it looks an object. And we publish it in the paper Nature. It's a relatively important paper.
Yeah. If we recall those days, so how did then our understanding of sky and cosmos, the way we look at the sky, has changed completely?
At the moment, we are only focused on to analyze our data and to be sure that it's not something related with the instrument, if it's not another physical phenomena, and so on. So it was not the time of the philosophy. Okay. It was the time of the real things. Yes. And so on. And then after, we announced the discovery in October 95 in a colloquium in Italy, in Firenze, and it was the moment everything changed. Overloaded by television, by journal papers, and so on. And it was, I don't know, a dozen and dozen and dozen. And so we realized we have put the finger on something not habitual, not usual. And after we say, okay, with Didier was my student. Okay. And we say, oh, okay, 2 months we will answer kindly to journalists. And in 2 months, okay, everything will stop and we will continue to do research as we did every time. And this never stopped. It's the reason why I'm here. No, this never stopped. Yeah. Because in early 96, our colleague from California announced the discovery of 2 planets. And so on and so on. Always you have new things. And then evidently today we still have a huge interest because you have space mission, you have a lot of space mission. It's very at the top priority of agencies, NASA, ESA, and so on. It's so you have a huge amount of people working in different institutes, biologists, chemists, physicists, astronomers, and so on, geologists, to analyze the next big questions, à savoir, do we have some form of life on some of this planet? And I need to mention something from the past. The Greek philosopher, more than 2,000 years ago, was extremely concerned with the possibilities that we have several worlds in the universe. It was not planet, it was a more philosophical question. And his very famous letter, Epicurus mentioned on some of this world we have living species, but not on others. So it's fantastic to imagine this man discussing this matter more than 2,000 years ago. It was philosophical question, not planet. Yeah. And it's only during the end of the 16th century that after Copernicus, that Giordano Bruno was not a scientist, he was a monk, maybe with some special idea. So, but he said something so simple. He said, the sun is a star. It's only brighter because it's closer. For us, it looks very simple. Yes. It was not evident at all before. Yeah. And he said, if you have planet orbiting the sun, so we should have also planet orbiting star. So it's no more the philosophical question of worlds, it was really planets. Okay, he paid very heavy price for that because he was burned, killed by the church in the early 17th century. And then this was really, it was very simple. It was just a few sentences. But I believe it's a change. And it's very interesting to see that already during the 18th century, you have some atlas of astronomy that the people producing these beautiful drawings show that distant stars are surrounded by planetary system. So it was quite accepted by all people. it was something, okay, it's normal. We should have. And it's very strange because if you are a little bit fast in this story, at the beginning of the 20th century, so not so far, the general feeling, estimation of our colleague astronomer, very big names, Sir Jeans in Cambridge, Shapley, Harvard, and so on, estimate that we are alone in the Milky Way. 200 billion of stars, and we are alone. Okay, it was based on the Aronoff theory, and then after the idea changed in the middle of the 20th century, and suddenly, immediately the idea jumped to billion, hundreds of billion of planets. Almost every star should have planet. Okay. So it's not so. It's interesting to see that these ideas are not so old. I was already living when this change was appear.
Yes, it just reminds me of Galileo when he just took the telescope towards the Saturn, and he felt like these rings are like Saturn's years, and like the kind of excitement and joy that he might have felt, I feel that you might have also felt looking at the exoplanet. But I just want to take you to your days in France, the Haute province. The observatory that you were doing around like the I think 1.5 meter telescope. From that, now we are moving towards around 40-meter telescope, extremely large telescope that we are going to set up. So entire range of technology has changed in this time. So how do you see the journey of this instrumentation, journey of all these observational techniques and technology, whether it is like TRAPPIST or whether it is the Kepler mission or James Webb?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it's true that if this domain was not considered to be priority before 51 peg, after it was completely changing. A lot of new instrumentation, new big observatories start to do systematic measurements. And in Haute-Provence, we have not only discovered 51 peg, but several others. But you know, the size of the telescope, the quality of the skies was not absolutely the best we can dream. And so we have decided to develop a new instrument to put in the southern sky in La Silla, in Chile. The sky is beautiful, it's a desert and so on. And so we start a very huge program of to search for planets in the southern sky. And not only us, you have the American have made something in different places, Hawaii, and so on. So it was, and today, here in Ahmedabad, the PL joined the club.
Yeah.
Yes, they have developed a new instrument called PARAS-2, it's an acronym, and this is a spectrograph. And what is very special, that it has the capability, the precision to measure 0.3 meters per second. Okay. So 0.3 meters per second change is something like when you are walking. Yeah. So you are measuring the velocity of a star quite distant, and you are able to see change of the velocity at this level of the velocity of a layman. So I'm very happy to be here because to see some colleague joining the club of people having this capability to search for planets. Sky is big, so I don't see any competition. Yeah. We have several observatories have developed something similar. So you can see the sky. You have plenty of work for everybody, and still more with a future satellite, because in 2 years, I believe from now, ESA will launch a new satellite called Plateau, and with the capability to measure, to search for planets, to analyze the age, the mass, and so on of stars. So it's thousands of stars. So it's good if you are several to measure, because the radial velocity is technique, my own technique, it's comment dire, really chronophage, need a lot of observing time. You need a lot of nights, a lot of, so it's good if you are several to do it.
Yeah, as you talked about India and Ahmedabad, as we are talking in this physical research laboratory, I would like to ask, India has a very much rich legacy in astronomy, particularly observational physics as well, observational astronomy as well. So, how do you see India's contribution to the world in ancient times as well as in current times?
So, okay, at the beginning, just after the discovery of 95, of Iftar, we have some tension between some colleague in US. So it's a part of the ego of people. It was we feel a relatively strong competition. Today it's no more the case. We have more than 5,000. So we not fight between us if you have one, and so on. So, and you have so many questions to find, because what we have discovered during the last 25 years is that the huge diversity of planetary systems, they are not similar to our own solar system. Some of them, yes, yeah, but you have many planetary systems very different. So it's interesting first to understand the formation of our own planetary system. Yeah. And evidently, again, this opened the field of the search for life in the universe. Yeah. I don't know. Don't ask me when we will have the answer. Or I don't know. It's a very complicated matter, but it's very interesting, because what is behind? It's a philosophical point. Okay, are we alone in terms of species, of form of life, alone in the universe, or is life, I would say, a normal process? Yeah. So when you have some good condition, okay, not on every planet, but on some of them, if you have the good condition, is life suitable to appear? Okay. Nobody knows. So this is a work for the next generation.
But my question is also that we also assume, or we know, we hypothesize, as so many hypotheses are there. So, is it really compulsory or necessary that only silicon-based or carbon-based life forms can be there? Is our understanding of life is really very much constrained by this thought, or can there be any another form of life which we might not have defined, but it is there? We might be still looking at there, but we are not able to recognize. What's your take on that?
First, we can notice that if we detect life in other parts, it will not be similar in detail. Yeah. Already on the Earth, when you are there in the very deep ocean, you have strange form of life. If you are in the desert, you have something different. If you are going in the forest, it's different. So the diversity of life is evident, and even more if you are on another exoplanet. So regarding now the problem of the carbon chemical development, carbon is a very strange, very favorable element. It's the only element suitable to form long chain of atoms. We don't have other chemical composition. And one of the most significant features of life is the need to transfer the information how you live to your daughter, and then to the granddaughter, and so on and so on. So you have a flux of information, and do you have another explanation except this long chain of atoms? We don't have any. A lot of people have tried to dream to the different possibilities. I believe nothing was proposed to be convincing. So for me, it's not a restriction of the mind to say we are looking for carbon chemistry, because I believe it's mandatory. It's exactly like we are searching to detect exoplanet, rocky exoplanet, with a distance of the star such that the temperature is adequate for liquid water. So say, why are you doing this? On the Earth, because you have some liquid water. No, it's more fundamental than this. Liquid water, the water is a chemical solvent, absolutely fantastic. So to facilitate the chemical reaction. And the second very, very important one is that when you have DNA, if you eat the DNA to above 100 something degree, it is broken.
Yeah.
It's what everybody done when you sterilize some aliments. When you cook aliments, you kill the bacteria, you kill the change, the transmission of this information. If you put this food in the fridge at minus 20 or something like this, the chemistry is so slow that nothing interesting happens. So the dream to search rocky planet with liquid water is simply made due to the constraint coming from physics and chemistry. It's not, so I do not pretend that we cannot find different process. But up to now we have one good process. Okay, first try to explore this.
Okay, I would like to ask you that in our discovery of like more than 5,000 exoplanets, there are also several thousand planetary systems as well. So we hear about TRAPPIST system, Gliese and Kepler, different. So which of them fascinates you right now? Which you think we should focus on the systems or these planets or this area more in depth so that we can get more about it?
I will not answer correctly to your question. I believe my favorite planet is the Earth.
Okay.
Because life is nice. we have everything. And okay, personally, is the planet I love the most. So if I answer to your question, what is the most important planet to do presently some experiment? It's evident that TRAPPIST system with several planets, or 3 maybe in the habitable zone, is a very high priority object. Because you have 3 planets with maybe the good temperature. But this 3 planets orbit in the habitable zone of, but it's a so small star, so inefficient nuclear reaction, that the habitable zone is very close. And we know that this kind of star could have very big flux of energetic particles. So I'm not sure that is a good place to go to take holidays.
Okay.
So okay, we have to do the experiment. And I'm sure that James Webb and other big telescopes will try to find if you have some what is called biomarker, anomalies in the spectra saying, oh, maybe life exists. Okay, it's certain we have to do it, but I'm not sure this will be the good answer. I mean, my always answer to this question. Epicurus mentioned that some of this world could have living species more than 2,000 years ago. We can wait 20 years. Why we can dream to have the answer next year? No. It's a very complicated story, very complicated domain. So if we need 20 years to do it, or maybe 30 years, okay.
So also you're, as you're seeing, we're looking into the exoplanets, other planets outside solar system. We've also started to looking at like very different climate systems as well.
Oh, yes.
That's a new era, new door that has opened. So what's your take about it?
Oh, presently in Geneva, we have a group of people working in the observatory has founded what is called CVU. It's a Center for the Life in the Universe in French. And you have many different chemists, biologists, and so on, and people doing climatology. And it's so complicated. So sometimes with exactly the same condition, apparent condition, you can develop a climate like this or something completely different if you change a small thing. So it's very interesting to see that the different possibilities, branches that you can, and in some sense it could be also a little bit frightening, because if you are playing too much with the carbon dioxide on ourselves, are we sure that we will not go through a path not wanted? You see, the Venus,
Yeah.
it's a companion planet of the Earth, rocky planet, but it's so huge, atmosphere, so blocking light, so the temperature is awful at the top. Okay, so I believe we have to be a little bit cautious on this matter. I don't want to be cooked.
Yeah. So also now comes to, I think, most repeating question you might be answering about your Nobel Prize moment. I kept on seeing your picture, looking at the emails you were getting in at the airport of Spain. Spain airport?
Yes.
Yeah. So what exactly were your feelings while looking at that? What you were thinking, or if you can recall that moment, because that photograph is really widely it's seen.
No. I was in San Sebastian in Spain
Okay.
to do babysitting.
Okay.
Because my son and his wife was invited for a wedding party, and they have 2 kids, very small, and evidently it was not convenient to have these kids to the whole night in the wedding party. So they asked us if with my wife we can go and take care of these 2 boys. And so we were, and when we left San Sebastian to take the bus to go to the airport, it was 11:45. And I said, oh, I would like just to learn what they are saying in Stockholm. And it was exactly the beginning of the session where the secretary of the Academy of Science said, today the Nobel Prize will be awarded to people having contributed to knowledge of the cosmos. Say, oh, interesting, this is. And I say, the professor Jim Peebles, having done a huge contribution to cosmology, so I say, oh, again, cosmology, because they already received a lot of. And then he says the second part will be devoted to exoplanet, and so on. And it was the time to leave to the airport.
So you doing talk to people, listen to your name also. Okay.
And when we are, after they tried to contact me in the underground bus station, it was so noisy, it was impossible. And then after I say, oh, if you want, we can have a contact to the bar of the airport. And the picture, when I was on my computer like this, it was taken by my wife.
Okay.
So, and it was completely crazy, because the computer was saying cling, cling, cling. Every few seconds you receive an email. Friends and family.
So what was the reaction of your wife? Did she understand your work from beginning, or she's a non-science person? And what was her reaction? I would like to know if you can share.
Evidently she was very happy, but she don't, like me, we don't jump.
Okay.
Okay, we are very happy, but okay. It was a beautiful recognition for what we did, but okay, we are not maybe demonstrative. My daughter-in-law in Norway was really more affected than me. No, I was, and after, when we went in December to receive the prize, because the announcement is made in October, but the prize is given the 10th of December. Why? Because the date of the death of Nobel. And so every year it is given exactly at the date. So, and it was not only festivity or celebration during one day, but 10 days. Incredible, incredible.
Okay.
So it was, this is, okay, evidently a nice memory.
So like very, very few people get Nobel in this earth. So like you were just professor, maybe you were scientist in Geneva. You got awards before that also. But how it's being different as a Nobel laureate, how world sees you differently and how you see the world differently. If you can be more candid about it, then you can say it.
Yes, it's evident that we have some, immediately, some closer relationship with the government. Sometimes we are invited to discuss something like that. But I believe we have to be a little bit cautious because we receive a lot of questions. Do you want to join us in the data? So a lot of people try to ask or support. Okay, sometimes I'm very happy to do it, but sometimes we feel not so comfortable. So okay, we have to be a little bit careful. And evidently we have a duty, I would say, at least what I feel myself, to contribute to outreach activities. So we need to use this label Nobel to give conference, course, and so on in school, in different places. I believe it's and here you have seen the auditorium was full of people, a large number of questions after and so on. So I believe this is, I'm not obliged. I'm a retired professor, but I believe we must do it.
Okay.
And I participate sometimes at some festival. One is called Starmus Festival. It's the sixth, I believe it's the sixth of the series. And the next one will be in Bratislava, in Slovakia. And at this, it's a mix of science and music.
Okay.
So in the previous one in Armenia, you have every afternoon between 6,000 and 8,000 people. Let's imagine to teach science, not only astronomy, biology, economy, physics, and so on, by 6,000 to 8,000 people. And evidently after they have music. I don't know if the name of Brian May is something for you. He's the famous guitarist of the group Queen. Okay. And this is one of the organizers.
So Professor Michel, just want to ask, when you're not doing science, what do you generally like, apart from telescopes and observatories and conferences and lectures, would you like to do, what you do generally? Okay. As Professor Brian, you say he plays guitar.
Okay. When I was younger,
yeah,
I was doing quite a lot of climbing, rock climbing in the Alps and so on. So today, I start to be a little bit older to do this. So what I'm doing is a lot of hiking in the Alps. So several hours from one place to another one with my wife. So this is beautiful to be in nature. And so this and except this, what everybody do, read books.
So is there any dream place for you to go for hiking or something you're planning this year or maybe upcoming years that we shall go over here?
No, okay. I'd like very much to do discovery travel.
Okay.
So next 2 weeks we will turn around the Gujarat.
Okay.
And spending quite a lot of time in national park to look animals. For me, spend 3 days just looking to find the lion of Asia or other things. For me, it's certainly one of the most exciting part of my life. And you can do it in many places in the world. A few years ago, I went to the Madhya Pradesh. Okay. They have also tiger reserve. Free it's not in zoo, it's free in the forest. And so it's beautiful. So it's the reason why I say the most beautiful planet is yours.
Yeah, and I'll talk about food also. So you've been to India also. So if you can, you tasted lots of Gujarati food right now in these days, maybe. So what Indian food or Indian cuisine you like most, or something that you want to cherish again?
I like very much Indian food, except maybe if it's too spicy. We are not trained to have so spicy food, but except this is a beautiful food. And apparently Gujarat food is renowned.
Okay.
So we'll see.
And Professor Michel, what advice you will give to young astrophysicists, astronomers who are really looking at the sky and really want to do some good research? So what would be their way forward?
So the first point I would say, if you hesitate to choose as a profession to be science, I believe it's a good choice. Not specifically astronomy. You can do geophysics, you can biology, so every domain of science. It's very, you offer a very nice life. Then if they choose astronomy, they have to avoid to believe that we have answered all the important questions. Stupidity. Because today we have the question we mentioned already, do we have life in the universe? Yeah. In cosmology, you have a fantastic success, except that apparently the most important part of the matter is not known. It's called the dark matter. We are sure it's not matter like this. It's really something different. Could be different particles. The universe is expanding. We know this from 1 century, and suddenly, 20 years ago, some colleague discovered that the expansion increased with time, and this was not expected. And nobody knows from what is the reason of this acceleration of the, and so on and so on. You have black hole, so singularity of the general relativity. And today, these people discover huge black hole already existing very soon after the beginning of the expansion of the universe. Why? What are the mechanisms to form? Okay, so just to explain, we have plenty of huge questions for young people.
Yes, yes. So thank you, Professor Michel Mayo, for talking to us. It was really wonderful interviewing you, talking to you, have this dialogue, and we really went into the lots of dimension of science and culture and experiences. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Merci.
Thank you, Messi. So as we conclude our interview, the Professor Michel Mayo, we are left inspired by his dedication to unraveling the mysteries of the universe. So thank you for joining in Doordarshan in this special show. Thank you.